how many families are just struggling right now, how much anxiety there is in our young people, and we need to wake up and help.
Meet Kristin MacDermott. She's the author of 3 books about resilience. In 2018, she founded the MacDermott Method, and with that, she brings the unique model of resilience training to children, especially to teens.
My mission on the planet is to help teens have skills to actually thrive in the face of how much anxiety and depression they're facing right now. There's a mental health crisis for teens, and it's a really expensive problem to try to solve.
Prices are ballpark 10K a year. She has 83 customers. With that, she's at the 83K mark. That's $1 million business.
Be who you are, right? And this is who I am. I'm a therapist and I love working with people. 100%, I think, is the thing that will triple the business. We are going to hope to cross the $1 million mark this year with revenue.
Welcome Kristin MacDermott to the show. Kristin is the author of 3 books about resilience. In 2018, she founded the MacDermott Method to bring her unique model of resilience training to children, especially teens. Kristin, let's double click on that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start this off with, what's your mission on the planet?
My mission on the planet is to help teens have skills to actually thrive in the face of how much anxiety and depression they're facing right now, and parents to not only be able to help their teens, but actually enjoy parenting.
Okay, bold. I love it. Before we double click on that, in your previous life, what did you do before, and what inflection point made you start your business?
Well, I am a psychotherapist, and so I've been doing that for a long time, but I did all this research in oncology. So in resilience, it was about how can you be resilient in the face of cancer. But I have just always had this passion for kids, and then it really just became clear that those teenage years are the point where if we can help young people during those years, it changes the course of their lives.
Okay. And then what specific inflection point made you, I have to stop doing this, resilience for cancer, and go all the way focusing on teens?
You know what the inflection point was? It was actually failure, which I kind of love because that's such a resilience topic. But the model that we built, we had a company going into cancer, and the business model just didn't work for that. And so it made me have to reinvent myself, which is never fun, except for that when doing that, in my opinion, the best way to get out of a hole of a failure or something is to go toward, well, who am I? What do I really care about? What do I really want to do? And then it was just super clear that, oh, this is really where I want to be anyway.
Good segue to talk about today's offer. So what do you sell? If you could guide me through what a typical customer of yours would buy, and where does it start on the low end of price points? Where does it end on the high end?
Well, we have a little bit of a different use case than most of the things. I mean, I learned about passion because I'm a therapist, and I had a product that I wanted to, like a course that I wanted to sell to parents. And we actually did build that, but then it became really clear that we could actually use the platform for our B2B stuff, which is taking this resilience training into schools. So it's different because what we're using the platform for is really delivering the content. So we have this program where we have weekly resilience skills that go by grade. So from 5th grade to 12th grade in schools. And so schools will buy either a grade or the whole middle school or the whole high school. And so we actually price it by grade. And they will then have the parents of every single student that gets those conversations, because what they are is they're conversation prompts to prompt the teachers to be able to have resilience building conversations. Then all the parents actually get it too. So the parents are able through the same app to get all the skills. So pricing wise, it's sort of a complicated pricing thing. Typically per school, if you have 1,000 kids, it's going to be somewhere, it's under $10,000 a year.
Got it. And that is when I buy one grade or when I buy all the grades?
That's when you're going to buy, I can't do the pricing totally about that. I think that's if you're going to buy a whole middle school. I think so, that would be 4 grades, but right. Don't quote me on that because the pricing is dynamic depending on the number of kids in the grade and that kind of thing.
Okay, but it's ballpark 10K. Maybe it can start at 5, can go up to 20 or something like that, but around 10. Is that correct?
Okay.
Okay. What's the ideal client? And if I were to interview these schools, what will they tell me is the true problem that you are solving for them?
So everyone is understanding that there's a mental health crisis for teens in this country, at least. And actually, I hear that for a lot of other countries too. And it's a really expensive problem to try to solve because they're just basically hiring more and more counselors, which is expensive. And still, they're not able to really keep up with the levels of anxiety and depression. And actually, suicide, like middle school suicide, is happening. And so we are really different. So we pair some kind of caring adult, some educator or counselor or even football coach or basketball coach with small groups of kids. So in homeroom or advisory or in one of those classes where you can, have a little bit of flexibility with the curriculum. And you just take 15 minutes a week. Ideally, you have more than one opportunity, but even 15 minutes a week. And you're just starting a conversation where you're creating a space for really the adults are mostly listening, for the kids to talk to each other about things that matter, right? Because the way I look at this is no one knows how to talk to each other anymore. So even the kids don't really talk to themselves because their faces are all on their phones, right? And even the well-meaning educators, it's hard to get kids to talk to them. And even parents around the dinner table. If you get your kids around the dinner table, you're getting those monosyllabic responses. So we're providing prompts to have meaningful conversations that just allow the school to see, oh, wait, this kid seems to be having more trouble. We should direct some more intensive resources toward this kid. Otherwise, we're creating a culture where people are actually communicating better.
Okay. What software tools do you use to deliver the value to your customers?
I mean, this is really all we need is the Passion app. I mean, the Passion app does it all. It's super easy. It's, super easy for the educators and the parents to utilize. And there's no preparation required. They just pull up one of the skills, read it, and start the conversation.
Amazing. What year did you launch the business as is with the current way to sell?
Just this past year, really. Before that, I did a pilot feasibility study with this organization that has police mentors mentoring inner city kids in Los Angeles through after-school sports programs. And so I just tested. I've done 15 years of research, all my research in oncology. I did with researchers at Duke. And I always think you should test to make sure that what you're doing actually works. And so I did this pilot feasibility study to see if these mentors delivering and having these conversations was actually improving resilience, and got really positive results. So that was we got those results and started about a year ago seeing if we could take this out to schools.
Good segue to talk about success. How many schools do you have currently as clients in total, and how many new schools are coming in every month, if you can even say that on average?
Yeah, well, we have, I don't know what the total number is. We started going with private schools because, as you can imagine, private schools, you kind of go one by one and it's just sort of easier. But then we got, pretty soon we got some school districts as well. And this year, I don't know what the number is, but revenue-wise, because I thought you were going to ask about revenue, we are going to hope to cross the $1 million mark this year with revenue. Yeah. So, I mean,
congratulations.
Thank you.
It's like an 80K a month run rate. Once you have 80K a month, times 12 is $1 million. So, and of course, then if you grow, right, you can have maybe like 60, 70, 80, then 90, 100, but then you're like you're already then on $1 million run rate. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, this is great. Okay, interesting. So it's not so easy because you have districts that have multiple schools in it. So you never really know like how many.
That's
not
the
easy
thing. It is interesting. And the other thing is, we've been talking to governors. And so you think like, well, if the governor of a state says, yeah, I like this, and there's money, it wouldn't be so difficult. But actually, even then, it's difficult to. Every district is different, right? And so, the way that the money flows is different. So it's really quite a nut to crack to come in, to the schools. And again, like every different little municipality is different. But we also are bringing it to any organization who cares about and works with kids. So sporting clubs like soccer clubs and volleyball clubs and that kind of a thing. As I said, we tested it with coach mentors. So, and then there are lots of nonprofits who mentor kids too. So we're coming at it from all angles, even camps, that kind of thing.
If you think the creator economy is really interesting, then I got something for you. On milliondollarcreators.club, we actually created a database of all the creators out there, and you see not just their fans, followers, subscribers, but actually how much money are they making. So with that, we bring now transparency into the creator economy, and you really see how are the best of the best get their customers, price their offers, create their offer stack, get customers, which tools are they using, how will they grow and triple their business going forward. So if that's interesting for you, including lists of who makes the most revenue, who has the fastest revenue growth, who has the biggest audience, who has the fastest growing audience, who makes the most revenue per follower, and who has the most exciting offer stack from low end all the way to the high end, then go to milliondollarcreators.club and enjoy the data. How many students? Like, do you have any? I'm just like trying to sense this in my head. Is it like 100 students? Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000 students that are currently consuming or working with the app?
Millions. I mean, if you think about how many students are in even just like I'm in Palm Beach, like the Palm Beach County school system, right? I mean, the numbers are really big. And where the conversations we're having is you have a mentor who is any adult. It could actually even be a high schooler mentoring a middle schooler. So any mentor type person having a conversation with 15 or so, sometimes more kids at a time, that only takes 15 minutes, right? So it's pretty, and then you think, then those people, the mentor goes home and takes it to their family. And then each of those students has a family that's also getting the conversation starters, right? So now those conversations, now it's just multiplied into all those families of people just pulling up this thing and being like, oh,
amazing.
So I understand that the skill of the week is about owning your personal strengths. What do you think one of your personal strengths is, right? And so now you have all these people, boom, talking about things that build resilience.
To understand business growth, and you said you started a year ago, does it mean you're like from 0 to $1 million essentially in 1 year, or how would I picture the business growth?
Yeah, it's gonna be that.
Congratulations, that's stellar.
Thank you. Yeah.
How big let's talk about the cost side of the business. How big is the team? Is it you, a few contractors? How does it look like? And if I were to have that secret chat with your accountant, what are the big items on the cost side that he or she will share with me?
Well, so started off really small, and we are in the place of hiring people right now. So like we've had a team of 4 internal people with a bunch of, like you said, sort of like contracting people. Yep. And now we need more. So we need operations people, because just like keeping up as we bring schools on requires, account managers, but also now that we sort of understand what it looks like, it's just, we need salespeople. We need people out there telling people what it is. And so those are really the biggest things. For the B2C, which I'm really excited about, the B2C is parenting focused. It's really, there are certain things parents can do to just like reset their relationships and get their teens to talk to them. And the biggest requirement is marketing money, right? And so we have told our investors that we are going to make the business sound by the B2B, and that we really need people for that. But then next, when we have some money, we need to spend it on marketing and brand building.
Yeah. Okay, let me double click on that, because I was thinking, hey, $83K a month. And then you have like a small team still, but you say like you need to invest and you have investors, right? So it sounds like, first it sounded as profitable, like wildly profitable, and now you can take it to the next level. On the other hand, it sounds like you need money. So like, where are you right now?
Because how it's like when you're an entrepreneur, it's like,
oh, I know that story. Yeah.
You have to get yourself somehow right to where investors are like, oh, you don't just need me to survive, you need me to grow, right? So like you've proven that there is actually a market and a demand, but in order to, like, we're right at that edge, in order to be able to like really meet it and then really, keep up with it and do what we need to do, we need the money now. So that's where we have been in this conversation with like, it would have been great to have more money earlier, but that's just not typically which is smart. Our investors are like, you need to, keep proving yourself. And so now we're to that point where they're like, okay, we get it. now now you have to have staff because you can't, like, my hair is falling out. Like, we can't do it all.
Before we continue, there's one favor I would like to ask. If you enjoy what we do here and you enjoy the guests that we bring, please join $1 Million Creators by hitting the subscribe button. And if you do, I'll make you a deal. I do everything in my power to make this show bigger and better for you. Do we have a deal? Enjoy the show. Got it. So that means actually the unit economics look really good. And now to take it to the next level with sales and with ops, you have like a massive hiring plan, and that actually would make the business from making profit to investing into future enterprise value. And for that reason, you are profitable, but you want to show that you need to invest in order to like take it to a whole nother level. Is that correct?
Because we just have so many other things we want to do. We have just so many other parts of our business that we're excited to get into.
Let's talk about customer acquisition, lead generation. How do you get eyeballs, awareness about your offers? Is it like cold outreach sales, or how does it work?
The hard way. Yeah, it has been. I actually work with my husband, who is the greatest business development person on the planet. He used to sell supersonic jets, and then he sold trips to space. And so when he said to me, "Hey, do you want some help taking this to market?" I was like, "Yeah," because that's not what I do. And it is the hard way. It's literally networking. It's relationship networking, and just, being excited about what you have to offer, and then just finding a way. Like he will find his way to a governor, or find his way to someone who owns charter schools in the state of New Jersey. And he does it through, cold stuff on LinkedIn or whatever, or through, he does, to be fair, have a great network. And so just, asking someone very specific, "Hey, this is what I have. This is what I need. Can you introduce me to this person?" But it's the slow, one-on-one relationship process is what's gotten us here.
Okay, what's then the funnel, the process from, I guess, lead? Like, where do you get the leads, and then to close them to purchase?
He's done some good partnerships. So, like, one of the best ones for us is partnering with someone who's already in like 10,000 schools, I think, with another product. She does SAT, ACT tutoring.
Right. So
if you can find someone who's already in where you need to be and partner, that's been the most helpful to us. And so, there's that basically, once we are able to show people how easy it is, because a lot of times the things that are happening in schools require you to purchase a lot of things, like whether it's workbooks or, supplies, those kind of things. And then there's a big component of the educator training, but we don't have that. Ours you literally just sign up, and in a week it can be running. And there's not even training that has to happen. It's built to be super easy to just implement. And that's really been our biggest thing, is once people understand that we're credible, which the research helps with, the fact that I have 15 years in research. But then people are looking for solutions to this particular problem right now.
Let's talk about adoption. Like, the most products I see in this category, where, let's say, you don't really need education for the tutor, you need to make sure that it's used by the student, and that the person in the school is like promoting it and tells people that, like, actually it's this thing, you should like use it, it's really cool. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure that adoption is where it needs to be, so that you can actually get positive feedback and excitement that this is really like impacting the schools?
Well, one of the things that people are often confused by is that they think it's for the student, but it's actually not. So we are trying to promote conversations. So the students actually never get our program. It's always the parent or whoever is going to be the mentor. And so in that case, it's coming down from on high. The school says, "I've bought this for you. We're going to have conversations about this. We expect all of you to be doing this in, whatever class it is." And so, and the teachers actually like it, because it's helping them, do something that's meaningful and address a problem that they see in front of their faces every day.
And educating the parents on how to have better conversations with their kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your secret to grow and convert your audience? And also, what's the relevance of your audience on social media? Is that important at all?
Well, it is. It's interesting, because for the B2B, I would say not as much because, like I said, we've literally done it the hard way, you know, knocking on doors.
Right.
For the B2C, I kind of think it's everything. And so that's where when I say that we really are waiting to have some money that we can put into marketing for that, social media is going to be the key to that for us. That's where we really feel like parents are going to be.
For B2B, it's of relevance. It's almost like middle of the funnel as a business card. So that means they're like, hey,
totally
what is this thing? And let me check it out. And they go on your social profiles. They're like, oh, okay, this is like, she looks sympathetic and the content is really good. So actually, let's invite them and have a chat.
You know what's so funny is we totally agree, but investors, at least the ones that we have come across, it's been really surprising to me how anti-social media they are. Like they just are like, it's this thing over there, which is so surprising to me. And that's like maybe a nice to have, but not something that they are really want to like build a business on, which I've been surprised.
I think it's good that investors are investors and entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
It also makes sense because I think that's BS in my opinion, because you like, you know, in your gut that you have to like they look at like they essentially want to see is this legit or not, and
Totally.
they look for you, and that's it, right? So
yeah,
I think like one thing that's interesting is I heard someone say, hey, don't call it social media, call it business media, because it is what it is. And today and people are just like there and they check things out, so it's part of the game. Why doing it? I mean, yes, you should also do it the hard way, but to build something scalable and to ease your sales process.
100%. I don't even see how you could argue otherwise, but we have repeatedly been told like, yeah, you don't have to worry about that right now. You can worry about that later. So,
okay. We're not talking about the names of these investors, but let's move on about the future. So what will enable you to triple the business, going from 1 million to, let's say, 3 million? So you said already, like hiring people, salespeople, ops people. Is there anything else? And then what's the biggest thing holding you back personally? And what's your best bet to resolve that?
So the social media, 100%, I think, is the thing that will triple the business. I am completely convinced of that. And then what was your second question? Oh, the biggest thing holding me back?
What's the biggest thing holding you back personally, and what's your best bet to resolve that?
Time, because I'm not using my time in the best way that I could be right now. I'm still having to do too many things that I shouldn't be doing. You know, I'm still having to work too deeply in my business as opposed to on it. I know what I should be doing. And so that's why we have said to investors, like, it has to be now that we can hire people, because it just doesn't make sense for me to be doing some of the things that I'm doing still.
Okay, so time and best bet to resolve is hiring. That makes sense. Okay. Biggest potential marketing channel to drive massive growth and then hitting this 3x in your business, what would that be?
Marketing challenge.
No, like marketing channel. Like what marketing channel do you think? Yeah.
You know, it's really funny. It's so funny for me to be saying this because I have been sort of afraid of not afraid of social media, but it just hasn't really been an expression of me until someone showed me this use case for TikTok, which is using visual metaphors to make your points. And it's such a good fit for me. And I know TikTok is totally controversial and whatever. But for me, that's the channel that I'm most excited about, actually, is these visual metaphor videos.
Next section is called Favorite 5. It's a fast-paced section. I try to increase the speed, and if you could just answer in one word, that would be fantastic. Let's take it away. What's your favorite business book?
You know what I like is Gino Wickman's Traction. Do you know that?
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way to get inspiration or to learn and grow?
Listening to audiobooks.
Audiobooks, okay. What's your favorite person that you are studying, your role model?
Role model. There is this particular person right now in terms of how to do those visual metaphor videos that I have been interested in. His name is, he does this for a living. He has I can't remember the name of his company. Brandon, totally now I'm spacing on his last name. That's who I've been paying attention to now about how to get those TikTok videos out.
Okay.
Brandon Kane.
Brandon Kane. What's your favorite event or conference that you have attended or would love to attend?
Wow, I don't have an immediate answer for that.
Let me ask differently. How do you work? With who do you work? How do you stay on top of the game? Conferences, coaches, like what is it that you do? I mean, maybe it's just audiobooks, could be, but what is it that like keeps you, where it's more dialogue than consuming, like with audiobooks?
I mean, from inspiration, I have to say it's actually my private practice. So I still work with families in my private practice as a therapist. So really, it's not from people who are teaching me lessons like that per se, as opposed, it's really like what I see in front of my face.
Right.
And then like when I do conferences and trainings and stuff, it tends to be in that world. Like there's a new model of therapy that's my favorite thing right now, but it's called internal family systems. So like that's where I get my, like, how do you really help people? Inspiration.
What's your favorite online tool for building your company?
I mean, I have to say the Passion one changed everything for us. Changed everything for us, because before that, well, I had a company before and we spent millions and millions of dollars on technology, building our own platform and all this kind of stuff. And that's the one that I told you failed. And so this time around, like, I can't remember how much money we spent on apps before, but it was hundreds of thousands of dollars we spent on apps. And so this time around, without even really being sure that it made sense to use an app for the thing that we were doing, it just didn't make sense to spend a lot of money on it. And then what we were able to do in Passion for $15,000 and to get, the weekly conversations that we get with our Mark, who helps us, it's been the best use of money because we actually got to try things. We got to build it and then see if it would work in the B2C, and then build it and see if it would work in the B2B. And I mean, it was business changing for us.
Nice. Give me an example real quick. Like, what was one of the things that you've built that were business changing for you?
Well, I really needed to see if you could put an app in front of educators and they would be able to get it, just how easy it is to implement something that you're going to then bring into the schools. And so the Resilience Reminders curriculum for us was really super easy for us to put in the apps, super easy to build. I mean, it was so just self-explanatory. And then it's so easy for us to just literally send someone a login and they get it without any big, explanations or instructions or anything.
Okay, let's move on. Favorite city or place that you would love to move to?
Well, we got to visit Marbella, Spain a couple of years ago, and that was pretty nice. I am a big fan of Spain.
Biggest thing on your mind right now?
Besides this, I mean, honestly, the thing that's on my mind is how many families are just struggling right now. I just can't. I mean, I see it. I guess that's what I do for a living, but just how much anxiety there is in our young people, and like what are we doing to make these young people so anxious? I feel like we need to wake up and help.
I agree. Personal section is a really quick one as well. How many hours do you work per week on average?
Well, probably 60 maybe.
And how many hours do you sleep per night?
I sleep. I try to get 8 hours sleep. I get up at 5:45, which makes it hard to go to sleep that early, but I try to get 8 hours of sleep.
What's the situation? Married, single, any kids?
I have been married for 32 years and have 3 kids, 26, 22, and 19.
Wow. And what's your age then?
56.
Final section, advice section, real quick. If you were to lose everything today and have to do it all over again, how would you do it?
I would. I've been through that actually, and so the question is, how would I do it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're already kind of doing that. We're already kind of coming from having done that. And so I would do the same thing. You have to just be who you are, right? And like, this is who I am. Like, I'm a therapist and I love working with people. So I would keep doing my private practice and I would just slowly find a way to get this stuff out. I feel like now I've learned what it is. And so even if, you took away all the investor money and all that kind of stuff, I would still do exactly what I'm doing. It just would be slower because I don't have the money, to have help and all that kind of stuff. But I'd do the same thing.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
My dad one time said that, because I used to just feel this big responsibility to change the world. And he said, well, what if every person who met you felt just a little bit better for having met you? Isn't that enough? And that just took so much pressure off. And it's like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, amazing. Final question. If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your 20-year-old self, what's the best piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
To be patient and to know that even in the times when it feels like it's failure or stuck or just confusion or being lost, to just like have faith and keep seeking answers and be who you really are, and it will all unfold.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's Kristin. She's the author of 3 books about resilience, and she founded in 2018 the MacDermott Method. And she actually has solved her own problem being a psychologist before having kids, went from resilience for cancer to resilience to deal with anxieties and help parents to have much better relationships with their kids. And on the back of that, you can actually, especially on the B2C side, she's getting there and more, but on the B2B side, she's empowering schools to have a resilience training, and that empowers the parents to have better conversations with their children. And so she's selling B2B to schools today, and then down the road, B2C as well. She uses Passion.io. She has cracked the $1 million mark and will take it now to the next level. The team is still small, and she actually is looking for investors to invest in salespeople, operations people, to have a big impact, a much bigger impact actually on the planet. And one thing that was interesting is that partnerships got her into these B2B setups so that she could have the biggest impact for the time invested. And so thank you so much for sharing this, Kristin, and taking us to the next level.
Well done with the summary. Thank you. Thanks for having me.